Tuning you in now to the LBX Show with your hosts, Christine Buer and Brandon Wiley. Brought to you by the LBX Collective, your community to connect, engage, and inspire.
Well, welcome back, guys. Here we are, show number 3. So exciting. I'm just loving this new format. Hey, I love all the other people that we have on the show now and all the great things that we're learning from everyone.
I know, exactly. And, we're excited. We're going to have some special guests in the next couple of weeks as well. And we want to keep that rolling. So yeah, we've got, I think we've got a good show today.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So for today on the agenda, we're going to kick things off just talking about some news you should know, some interesting things that are happening out there that we just want to make you aware of. Then we're going to start rolling. Brandon and I'll have a little bit of a conversation about some things that we think are interesting. Then we're going to roll into some of our regular segments. So we will have our regular Open and Shut by Kevin Williams talking about all the new businesses that are opening and some that are unfortunately closing in the industry right now. Then we'll have our promo pro tips with Chuck DeMonte of Radius. He's been giving out such great information and just been loving those up. Also, we will have Arcade Corner with Adam Pratt talking about all the new video and arcade games and what you need to know around that. And then we have a great segment from Beth Stanley called Scale Up, where she talks about different processes and things that we can implement in our businesses to make them stronger and get more traction to grow faster. And then finally today, we're introducing a new segment called Crowd Questions. So we looked and kind of searched to figure out what do people need to learn? What do they need to know? And we've found a question and we're finding an expert to answer it. So today we'll have, actually, I'll just surprise you with what we're going to have later today. All right. So that's kind of it. And then we might just finish things off with a little teaser of our next sound off that's coming out next Tuesday. Anyway, over to you, Brandon.
Awesome. Well, I spent the last couple of days this week at Andretti Karting and Games in Chandler, and we were doing the very first inaugural birthday workshop by LBX Academy. So it's a new program that we've developed, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. You can see here we had a good group come down to Chandler. Some came from out of state, some were in state. It was a good mix of people. We had some great sponsors there as well. And, it was a 3-day workshop, and we learned everything about how to dig in and create revenue building birthdays. We covered everything from setting the stage. Okay, like, why should birthday parties be considered a separate part of your business, an important revenue generating part of your business? It should be at least 20 to 40% of your revenue. We sort of set that stage there. And then we talked about building party packages, how to hire party coordinators, the value of really solid party management, and systems and processes, execution. What does the actual day of the event look like? And then, things like post-party things that need to happen. So how do you drive referrals, return coupons, get reviews, that kind of stuff. And Jeremy Hoyum, formerly of Jake's Unlimited and a former FEC of the Year award winner, and also brass ring winner for food item at an FEC. And then he delivered a lot of the birthday content. And then we had Kyle Stremme, who was a longtime person in this industry who was really focused on outbound sales. And so he actually did a little group sales workshop, and it was a lot of fun. And looking forward to the next one, probably in the spring. So very much a great time. And so thankful to Jeremy and to Kyle, and obviously to Eddie from Andretti for letting us come down there. And then specifically even David Stevenson, who's the general manager over at this Chandler location, who was kind enough to give us a really in-depth 1.5 hour long tour, front of house and back of house around Andretti.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so sad that I missed it and I didn't get to be there for it, but it sounds like you guys had a great experience and learned some really awesome things.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But we've got some of our news you should know, so let's dig into it.
Love it. All right. I keep seeing this in my news feed, and I wasn't sure if other people were seeing it, but the AAMA has opened up applications for the FEC, their FEC of the Year award for 2025. So you can go and apply now. There is a long, lengthy link to this. I will post it in the show notes so that you know where to go, because it makes no sense. And if you go to their website, you can't find it. So if you are interested in applying for this, please just hit our show notes afterwards, and I will put the link in there. You can click on it and go right right to the application page.
Awesome. All right. Well, we are what now 3 weeks away from IAPA Expo. And so
I'm so
figured
excited.
we'd get everybody a little bit excited here and you go ahead and share a little video that IAPA has put together to get us all excited for this really freaking awesome event.
Get ready. Get ready. Harness the power of IAPA Expo 2024. Join a dynamic community of more than 1,100 exhibitors and 40,000 attendees to elevate the customer experience and push the boundaries of what's possible. Transform cutting-edge innovations into opportunity by discovering state-of-the-art rides, the latest in virtual reality technologies, and high-tech solutions on the trade show floor. Turn insights into action with power-packed education sessions to keep you at the forefront of industry advancements that will improve your operation. And turn conversations into meaningful connections as you network with the most passionate leaders and most innovative minds in the attractions industry. Don't wait. Register now at iapa.org/IAPA Expo and save.
All right. So, if you don't want to register the formal way, you can just email Christine or myself or, or something like that. Just, our Brandon at lbxcollective.com, Christine at lbxcollective.com. And we have free guest passes to the expo. So definitely, we have a booth there, booth 145. So you're going to want to check us out. And if you, I don't have one around here. If you have one of our little pins, we will be announcing little speakeasy happy hours throughout the week. And so if you have one of our pins, that's your entrance into the speakeasy to be able to get a little drink on us. So definitely, if you don't already have one, that's fine. We will have them at our booth 145. So swing by, pick up a pin, and then just keep an eye out or an ear out for when we're going to have our little happy hour gatherings. They'll be at different times. They'll be pretty informal, and they will be hidden. So definitely want to stay in touch. And it was amazing how many of our friends that we actually saw in that video. So I was like counting the number of people. I'm like,
I was going to say that too.
there's
Victor.
there's Jim, there's Megan, there's, just seeing them all. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And also you pop by your booth because we're announcing some new stuff this year that we haven't announced yet. So you may be privy to some things before everybody else and new pins and different things. So yeah, pop on in. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Oh, one last thing. Next week, we are going to hear from Sherry Howell, who is the current FEC committee chair for IAPA. And she's going to be talking about a lot of the different education sessions that they're going to have for focus on the FEC committee next year. So, this upcoming year. So definitely tune in next week to hear from Sherry Howell.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm actually looking forward to that. I know I've been to IAPA a gazillion times, but I always feel like, oh my God, I'm not prepared. I haven't done all the things. I don't know all the things I need to know, hope everybody's getting a lot of sleep right now. Don't be partying. Save that for the show because you know what happens when you meet all your friends and things go crazy. So, rest up, get a good pair of runners, and it'll be good to hear all the education stuff that's going to be happening too.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I have just one little thing to share today, and it's different. I just thought it was a really interesting thing that was going on, and I wanted everyone to kind of be aware of it and get your thoughts on this. So Chick-fil-A has launched, or they're going to be launching a new app. It's a Play app, and it's going to be coming out November 18th. And here's a little logo. This is all I could really get from what the app's going to kind of be branded like. But the app's going to contain different things like animated TV shows, scripted podcasts, games, video recipes, crafts, different experiences for families, and kind of focused on kids 12 and under. Now, the idea is to extend the hospitality that Chick-fil-A is known for around their food and, their experience in store, and create opportunities for families to connect. And the reason I'm bringing it up is I think it's really important because whether they're at a Chick-fil-A restaurant, at home, or on the go, the idea is that this app is supposed to be used to connect with them, to engage them in their Chick-fil-A brand and their product, right? So here's a list of what is going to be on the app. And I do have a little teaser video we're going to watch in a second because I want you to see the quality of what is actually coming out on this app. It's mind-boggling. It's so well done. Now, and of course, I had to put a picture of the cows in, it wouldn't be a Chick-fil-A presentation without the cows here, right? But I think what's interesting is it looks like they're expanding beyond just food, and they're integrating media and play to enrich the overall customer experience. Now, let's jump into this teaser. This is of Legends of Evergreen Hills, and it's going to be like a little TV series that's going to be shown in this app about good values, kids doing interesting things. Now, find it, Christine. There we go. Okay, I'm going to bring this onto stage, and we'll give this a little watch.
When someone in this world is kind, that act of kindness creates spark.
Sparks hold incredible power.
And there's a whole world next to ours where spark is used to help people, called Evergreen Hills.
Evergreen Hills must remain a secret, for there are people who will misuse spark power rather than to help others.
It might get dangerous, but nothing you can't handle. Probably.
What?
When we agreed that she should be my apprentice, we knew there might be risks.
Not like this.
Is it true someone stole from the spark tree?
You're important to this work, Sam. I chose you because you have the heart for it.
We'll make a warrior of you yet, little one. You have much to learn, but the timekeeper and I are willing to teach you. Thank you, Sam.
So
Wow.
right. I
Wow.
just have to pause this.
Wow. Yeah, that's and they even said like down at the tagline was a Chick-fil-A original series. Like impressive.
Quality's there. They've got all the elements, the little girl fighting the thing with the climax. They even got the cute puppy at the end. Like they have nailed it here. And so you can just imagine what the rest of the stuff in that app, like the podcast, some of the recipes, the other arts and crafts things that they're going to have, the quality that those are going to be like. And so when I was doing my research, I was reminded too earlier this year that Chuck E. Cheese was creating their own game show as well. And if I don't want to give it away, but this next episode of Sound Off that's coming out, Kevin Williams shared that there's even a restaurant chain that's starting to incorporate immersive play boxes inside of some of their different restaurants. And so it seems to me like we have more competition entering into the market. We have fast food restaurants that are going to be incorporating apps like this, quality types of entertainment to engage customers, not only when they're in their location, but before and afterwards. And, creating spaces for people to come, like with immersive boxes and more entertainment in their locations. So, I mean, I'm fearful. I'm just like, wow, we have to up our game here. I mean, we need to have apps and different things like this to be engaging our customers before and after as well. And when I'm, thinking what exists out there right now, there isn't anything.
Yeah, there certainly isn't. Not for our industry at all. And actually, I would argue that they're at the bleeding edge, like the very, very bleeding edge of something like, we've seen this coming for a little while, and we've been talking about engaging customers after they've left with some sort of content or some sort of experience that's going to keep them connected to the brand and bringing back in. And they've really nailed it. And they've clearly been working on this for a while, and now they're just beginning to roll it out. And so I will tell you, I'm going to download the Chick-fil-A Play app immediately after this show and really dig in and see where this can be applied to our industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I'm excited. Our first Chick-fil-A is opening up here in Calgary in a month. Yeah, and it sounds like there's another one coming too, which is mind-boggling for me. So I should be able to get the app too. So
all right, good. We'll get ready for lines around the door, around the block.
Exactly.
So it'll be lines for a while.
All right.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And everybody, that was news you should know. Intercart is the only cashless system designed, developed, and manufactured all under one roof. They introduced cashless technology to the amusement industry and have been leading the way for over 30 years. Cashless systems from Intercart increase customer spending, guest satisfaction, and boost revenues by up to 30%. Intercart is so proud to be serving the amusement industry, and if you aren't already part of their global family of customers, they hope you will become one soon. All right, well, we're excited. Next up, we've got Open and Shut with Kevin Williams. Let's hear from Kevin.
Hey everyone, welcome to the latest Open and Shut. We're going to be covering the openings of entertainment facilities and some redevelopments from others. Now, I'm going to go through this very quickly, but if you need to understand or get more information about the companies that I'm talking about, just freeze frame the video and all of the details are at the bottom of the slide. But anyway, let's jump in. There's the time limit that I am being held to on this one. So, openings. News that we're going to be getting a brand new Sphere in Abu Dhabi. The concept from MGS, Madison Square Garden, so MSG, has been greenlit, and that will be opening hopefully 2026. In Ireland, a attractions facility has decided to go from being a visitor attraction to a full-scale amusement and entertainment offering, which will also include some social entertainment offering. Our friends at Beat the Bomb have opened another facility. Unique approach here from the company. It's a kind of an escape room meets an active entertainment space, and their Philadelphia facility will be following the same model as their other sites. If you're flying out of a country, the idea of being able to do a little bit of entertainment and a bit of VR airside rather than in the retail area has now been brought to the table at Manchester Airport with GamePoint, the company that runs an esports and entertainment experience on the airside of, where you jump on the plane, has now added VR to that mix of operations. I just hope that they have an announcer telling you that you've missed your plane. Our friends at the Park Playground threw the doors open to their Leeds facility. It's great news to see the site that was closed down prematurely reopen, and we'll hopefully have news about their Birmingham facility also going back on stream. They have a brand new operations management, and we're wishing them well with that. Technopolis is a science center stroke entertainment museum operation, and they have signed an agreement again with Park Playground to install VR at their location. So a little bit, the museum already has some VR exhibits, but this is adding a dedicated entertainment offering. Again, active entertainment and Oxygen Active Play has rolled out a Salford UK facility. That's a $2.5 million or pounds, so I get the numbers right, investment. They have about 30 trampoline sites, and they've been actively increasing the entertainment mix in their space to mirror the operations in the market, and they're hoping to roll out some more facilities in the coming months. Dave & Buster's been in the news a lot. They've just thrown the doors open on a Rochester facility, 33,000 square feet. This adds to their 146 facilities out there in North America. And this, of course, brand new facility follows their new branding and new design, including the social bays. At the moment, they have remodeled with this new social bay approach about 18 of their fleet of facilities, and they hope to have the majority of them remodeled by 2026. So that's quite a strong rollout and redevelopment plan that they have in the works. Retro is the trend of the day on this cast. We have our friends at Hometown Arcade opening up a Massachusetts facility, as well as rolling out a New Jersey facility. Though the New Jersey facility is in a modern facility, their other facility is in a more traditional site. They're more of a free play arcade and social hangout approach rather than a dedicated retro tavern bar approach. But it's good to see a chain growing in this market. Our friends at Super Rad Arcades has opened up their first facility in Virginia, comprising about 75 games, again going for that traditional kind of retro bar approach. Then we have in Devon in the UK a little bit more of a laid-back kind of mixture of arcade machines and retro console gaming. You know, an 80s vibe to appeal to a particular audience with a social hangout beat. And then, of course, 16-bit, well known in the market with a number of facilities. They have just added to that with an Ohio facility, adding to their mix of console gaming, retro arcade, and bar. We have Smash Entertainment. I nearly mistook this for the Indian Smash chain, but counted the number of A's they have. They are opening up at the end of the year their Swedish facility. You know, again, a mixture of mini golf. I think it's pin set bowling, as well as pool tables and a bar aesthetic. Then 10pin, a very popular brand in the UK, has announced the opening of a new facility. Shrewsbury gets to have the new configuration of 10pin, which is much more light, much more amusement, much more social entertainment. And they plan to be upgrading all of their 50 facilities that they have out in the market to this standard. And then the other trend is pickleball. Pickleball's everywhere. And a lot of these pickleball facilities are adding in an F&B and entertainment component on top of the pickleball courts. So we have Pickle Pad, Pickle Rage, Electric Pickle, Pickle this way, Pickle that way, Pickle Rick, whatever. We have a number of pickle facilities opening up. I am looking forward to seeing their longevity and how they survive in the market, but it does seem that that is the zeitgeist at the moment. Moving away from Picklicious, and we have a breakthrough, a challenge room. So a challenge room is more skill and an activity rather than an escape room approach to this. And this is the beginning of a chain of facilities based on this kind of approach being jumped into Cincinnati. Again, more of the entertainment mix, but we get to see the gel blasters. Very interesting gel blaster system. We're going to be seeing a big launch from the company at IALPA. The interesting thing about the gel blast is the physical with the digital. They can be, the guns can be operated just as laser tag systems or as physical firing gel tab guns, and so that offers a great mix, an adult against a young player kind of demographic from the entertainment systems that you deploy into your facility. The Bogey Factory is another example of the rollout or the trend we're seeing in golf simulator tavern sites. Mixture of food, drink, and the latest tracked golf simulation systems. This facility is going to, in Wisconsin, is going to have, well, it's opened already. It has 6 sim bays and has a very strong family base approach to their business model. I was talking previously about our friends at Swingers. Swingers Las Vegas has been greenlit and will be throwing its doors open at the end of this month, November. And this facility will be opened, already installed with the carnival amusement redemption capability sitting alongside the mini golf side. Jumping all the way down to Australia, and the the Warner Brothers Movie World theme park has done a deal with Village Entertainment to drop in an arcade entertainment experience into their site called Action Zone Arcade. It has about 30 arcade machines in there, very eclectic styling based on the themality of the venue, but it offers a secondary entertainment spend within the theme park spend of the facility. Jumping onto Japan, and it always is Geigo and Gender. They made some major announcements about some merger and acquisitions that they've been undertaking, and at the same time they're rolling out a brand new facility in Tokyo with a mixture of capsule amusement and about 27 music games, the B-Mania attack, and also that they've gone for, in Katisho, they've opened up a facility there, again with cranes, but with also a heavy amusement mix and some stickers and capsule, gashipo kind of approach. Kobe gets its fix of getting the gaming oasis. And the shuts, well, sadly, Lucky Jack's Family Entertainment Centre has closed down after 63 years of operation. They tried to find a buyer for the facility as the operators are moving on to other things, but sadly, no one was willing to take their offer, and they've actually received an offer from a auto garage facility that's going to level the site and turn it into a spare parts facility. Sadly, that area is going to be, that part of Michigan is going to be losing an entertainment veteran, and we wish everybody involved with that good luck with their next endeavors. In the UK, we've seen Cineworld go through the process of closing down, going through their redevelopment, and they've started the process of closing down a number of their sites. We're also learning that their restructured sites are going to include some entertainment mix. So the ones that survive, we better keep a close watch on that space. And then finally, 7-Eleven is closing 400 of their stores. And the only reason I mention it is because of the importance that 7-Eleven had in the early days of the video arcade. Video arcade machines used to be installed in 7-Eleven facilities, were very popular. So popular that they were even mentioned in the second Back to the Future. But anyway, that's the rundown from me. And just as I go over my time limit, I wish you all well. That's it from me.
All right, we've got to really figure out how to
I know.
Like it's so annoying how the StreamYard works there when you're adding in a video. Anyway, we'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Not going to figure it out while we're doing the show live though, so let's try to avoid that. I will do my best. All right. So, what did you hear from Kevin that was interesting?
Yeah. I think just the big thing that keeps getting me every week is just how much new competition is coming into the space. That's just where I kind of feeling overwhelmed. Like everywhere you look, it's something new. It's this, it's that. And then, we're talking about pickleball again. Like we're talking about more and more pickleball. I thought this was going to be over. Like, I feel like your forecast might just, for the year might be out the window.
Yeah, well, remember what I did forecast was that the last pickleball venue would be built in 2024. I do think, though, I am going to be wrong on that because we just heard not on Kevin's thing, but we were reading about some news, and I can't remember the name of the brand. I think it was Pickler, but they just raised $400 million to roll out pickleball, multiple locations of pickleball. And so, and from a private equity firm. And so my view on this is when we see private equity coming in and getting in behind one of these types of attractions, that's when you're going to really see a major drive into the point where you're going to be oversaturated. And we saw this with trampoline parks. This was really one of the big areas where this happened. The Gen 1 trampoline park, where it's just trampolines and maybe some foam pits and maybe a big airbag. Private equity came in and they poured tons of money in, opened up tons of facilities, tons of franchisees, and then it just became oversaturated and they started having to go consolidation. brands being bought up and eaten up and some closing down and shutting down, and we'll never heard of them again, right? So I think we're going to see the exact same thing happen in pickleball, because what is it? It's the same thing that we ran into with bowling centers and roller rinks and trampoline parks. It's a single attraction. You come, you play pickleball, you maybe eat some food, even if it's good, and then you go home. And it's a single attraction model that I can also, by the way, play and do on my own anywhere else that has a city court. And so I think they're really going to struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. And I mean, here we are again, adding more competition into the space, because some of these pickleball people will become wise to the idea that, oh, this is not going to cut it anymore. I need to put some different things in. And so they'll start adding attractions, other entertainment attractions in. And then we just have more arcades then. We have more laser tags. We have more slides. Like we'll just have more of the stuff.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, this electric pickle, interestingly, opened up just down the street from me. The one he was talking about there, the one that opened in Tempe, Arizona. I don't know if it's officially open or it is opening this weekend or whatever. So I have to drive by there and look at it. I mean, it's like literally 5 minutes away from my house. And but it's right next to a main event. So like I think it's so interesting how they've even decided that they're non-competitive with the main event. And I totally disagree. There also happen to be, by the way, 2 miles away from 4 different actual city-owned pickleball courts that are actually really nice, well lit all the way into the night, and they're open late at night as well. So I don't know, we'll see how they do. Hopefully their food is good enough to justify them actually building and spending the $20 million that it took to open up that facility.
Yeah, it's nuts, right? Yeah, maybe if they were lower cost, and they look at it as a physical activity component. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, all that being said, with all that extra added competition, what do we need? We need some better promotion, and who better to hear from the pro, Chuck DeMonte. So let's listen to some promo pro tips from Chuck.
Welcome to Promo Pro Tips with Chuck DeMonte. I am, you guessed it, Chuck DeMonte, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Radius. And at Radius, we help location-based entertainment centers attract more visitors by using real-time location data and tailored marketing strategies. And today, I want to talk about something extremely, extremely important, which is often forgotten, which is first-party data collection. Okay. Now, that might sound like a foreign title to you or something you never heard of, but I'm going to explain to you what it is and why it's so important. First-party data collection is essentially what it sounds like. It's data that you have that you collected directly for customer information, email, phone number, first name, last name, maybe their family's information, birth dates, and other stuff that you could use to hopefully market to them, right? And get them to either A, come into your location for the first time or become a repeat customer, okay? So why is first-party data collection, why has that gotten more important? If you remember, I don't know when it was now, maybe 2 years ago, Apple had increased sort of their privacy gates where they were not allowing apps to track you as much. And while personally that might sound like a great thing for marketing, it was definitely not, right? Facebook was harder to get results there. Around the marketing, strategies, it just made them a little bit more difficult to produce the results because that first party data and tracking capability was not what it used to be. So getting first party data is something that's really important because those trends are going to continue, right? Of that privacy, of people wanting to protect their data. So if you have their data and they give it to you, that's a different story. You could use that. Okay. So let's talk about some great ways to use this first party data. First and foremost, we're talking about direct communication channels, right? Email and SMS, super, super, super important. So the first thing, repeat customers, okay? It is always easier to get somebody to come back and be a customer as opposed to acquire a new customer, right? And when we're looking at and analyzing location-based entertainment centers for clients, we have tools that could see what their average, even if they don't have, let's say, data for this on their CRM or something, or their POS, we could understand what their visitor frequency is, right? How many times on average somebody visits their location, all right? Now, even just a few points increase in this average frequency could equal a ton of money, right? So if the average visitor frequency is 1.3 times, we get it to 1.5 times, the math always comes out to it being thousands of dollars more in revenue for you in a given year, right? That's huge. So again, if you can make just people who you already have come to your location visit again, easy money, right? So to speak. So that's one of the first things. You want to use email and SMS to get people to come back. If you have this first party data that you're collecting on customers that have visited you already, much easier to get that, okay? You can also use this to acquire new customers, right? So someone has to join your email list just because they visited your location. There are other reasons for people to join your email list and ways to promote that, right? So one of the ways we do that is via a giveaway, okay? We actually do this in a couple different ways. We use a service called Slick Text for SMS messages many times. There's a bunch of different services, and we use a bunch of different ones, but Slick Text is one we like, and we'll do a giveaway. We'll basically create a landing page on Slick Text and do meta ads to people to basically join that SMS marketing channel, right? And we'll say, hey, we're going to give you free tickets, free birthdays once a month. We're going to pick a random winner. All you have to do to enter is join our SMS list, right? It's double opt-in. It's a really targeted list. It's, you know, it's a local list. You're only promoting it locally. Great way to increase that first party data, okay? And now, again, this is maybe people who've never even been to your location. So now they're going to get SMS communication from you. Now you have a much higher likelihood of them coming to you as a first-time visitor, as opposed if they were just, you never had their contact information, right? Same thing with email. You could use giveaways and stuff like that to increase your, increase your email list and then market to them to further, to hopefully, re-engage them to come into your location. Okay. So those are a couple great reasons as to why you should have first-party data, direct communication channels, right? Another great reason, retargeting. You could upload these contact lists into things like Meta, into things like Google, and retarget these people with ads, with promotions, right? Get in front of them. And if you've seen a while back, I'm pretty sure on the show, I talked about having multiple touch points. It's extremely important to have multiple touch points, right? The world is noisy. People's lives are busy. You need to cut through that noise. And that means having multiple channels. They need to see you on email. They need to see you on SMS. They need to see you on social media. They need to see, them get a mailer in their house, right? So all these things, again, first party data. Now you have their address. You can send them a mailer for a promotion, right? Another good point. So, using this data to further strengthen other marketing strategies, paid advertising, direct mail, you have their address, right? All great stuff. Increase marketing, increase these multiple touch points, enhances your marketing undoubtedly. Okay. So again, first party data could strengthen all these things. A couple ways to collect data. I mentioned, the first one, giveaways, right? Super important. Very great, great way to get new sort of customers that you maybe have never been to your location. Okay. Another way is waivers. If somebody signs waivers before they come into your location, great. You can collect that information, make sure they're opting into your marketing when they do that. Easy way to get not only information for them, but information potentially if you have a lower age demographic, you're catering more to children and families. Get their birthday of their children that they have with them, and use that as segmentation to maybe hit them with certain messages with certain time of the year when their birthdays are coming up, when their children's birthdays are coming up, to book a birthday party, right? So again, waivers is a great way to get this data. Giveaways is a great way to get this data. Wi-Fi capture is another way to get this data that not many people use. So basically, when somebody's in your location and their children are playing, or they're sitting there and they want to go online, offer them free Wi-Fi just for their information adopt into your marketing. That's it, right? 3 great ways that are going to continue to grow your list, your email and your SMS list. And again, strengthen other marketing strategies and make other marketing strategies more viable and more effective. So those are some great ways. Again, once you get those lists, if you can segment them in certain ways by birthdays, by gender, location, right? Think of different ways you can potentially segment them, because it's going to help you communicate with them more specifically, right? So, if you haven't already, start collecting first party data. It's super, super, super important. And yeah, we see too many people not collect their data. They're open for 5 years and they have a list of like 1,000 people. So hopefully you're not one of them. Again, I am Chuck DeMonte, Chief Marketing Officer at Radius. If you ever be interested about learning more about what we do for marketing for location-based entertainment centers, go to radius.co. That's RAYDIUS.co. Hopefully I will talk to you soon. If you run a location-based entertainment brand and want to attract more visitors, check out Radius. They use real-time location data and customized marketing strategies to help brands like yours stand out. Radius can boost your foot traffic and build a loyal customer base. Plus, they're offering a complimentary local market analysis to show you exactly how they can help you grow. Curious? Visit radius.co. raydius.co and ask about your free market analysis. That's raydius.co.
All right. So I think one of the things that stood out for me from Chuck's was the multiple touch points. And you need to get in front of a customer, not just multiple times, but through multiple channels. So you're hitting them with direct mail, potentially. You're hitting them with email. You're getting in front of them with a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad, and having those multiple channels. And as he mentioned, first party day is essential to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, like just adding on to that, the one thing that I learned from experience, because in Canada, we didn't need people to sign waivers. So we're like, we're not going to have that hassle. Let's just not do that, which was a huge mistake in the end. Waivers are, who cares about the waiver? It's just to get the customer data. So have them to get the data. The giveaways were always a great way to get data, and the Wi-Fi touch points inside of the facility. I know you have tons of experience with that. Again, another great way to get data. Collect as much customer information of those customers coming through the door, because they will come back. They've already come once, utilize them to come back again. And then the other thing I was going to mention is, oh my God, press pause, rewind, go back with a notepad and re-listen to what Chuck said on slow motion and write all that stuff out, because that was so full of so much good information. And don't be scared to reach out to either Radius or somebody else to get help and support with it, because you literally cannot do this on your own. Like, you can't, it's too hard. There's too many pieces in there.
Yep. If only there was a way for us all to stay connected to each other and, and communicate with each other and really make it easy to get in touch with all the great people that we have on the show. All right. Well, maybe we'll have to revisit that in a couple of weeks. All right. So the next thing we've got is Adam Pratt from Arcade Heroes, and we're going to listen to his Arcade Corner segment.
Hey, and welcome to Arcade Corner with me, your host, Adam Pratt of ArcadeHeroes.com. And thanks again to the LBX Collective for having me present to you the latest in arcade news. Last time we spoke, I was in Chicago for Pinball Expo 2024 and was checking out some of the latest in pinball. But there was one thing that I didn't get to see because I had to come home early. Because got to run an arcade and everything, and so couldn't stick around for the entire event. But Stern had announced at the beginning of Pinball Expo, at least the trade show portion, that they were remastering Metallica, which they had released back in 2013. Now, of course, that's probably not a band that needs an introduction as one of the most famous rock band, heavy metal bands in the world. But what they've done is they've taken that 2013 design and brought 2024 elements to it, technological upgrades and such to that game. And so it looks and feels like a brand new release, even though it is based on that older design. But they didn't have it for the first 2 days, trade show days of the show that I was there. I was there Thursday and Friday. And so they brought it on Saturday, and so just missed out on it. But it will be at IAPA, so there's that consolation, I suppose. And it's also in production now, so it'll start showing up at different venues that are into pinball and such. But they've done new artwork. They've made some small adjustments to the play fields to improve the geometry. So sometimes there can be little things within a layout that can cause the ball to get stuck or maybe not hit a shot just right. So they've made some small corrections in that regard, redesigned the toys as well as the mechanics behind the toys. They're using their newer hardware platform, added Stern Insider Connected, added more songs since the band has released a couple of albums since the game was done previously. The band has recorded new voiceovers for it, which they tend to call outs in pinball, improve the rules and add new game modes. And so overall, it's going to be the definitive version of Metallica, which when that came out, it instantly became Stern's biggest release ever at the time. I might have been surpassed by some other releases since then, but it just sold out really fast and sold like crazy. Now, I don't know if Remastered's done that. I haven't heard that yet. But still, if you're into Metallica, if you're into pinball, into heavy metal music, whatever, and that fits with your venue, then this is one to take a look at. But as we are now approaching IAAPA, we're only about 3-ish weeks away from that. There's more to discuss. And so right as I was leaving for Chicago, I actually got a little spy photo of this new game that's on test. I got a blurry photo from over in the UK of this game called Alpha Ops VR Strike, which is being designed by a company called 3 Mind Wave. If they sound familiar, I mean, they should by now, because they've done several games with Sega Amusements, including ATV Slam, Apex Rebels, which they introduced at IAAPA last year, VR Agent, where this particular game seems to be a spiritual sequel of a sort to VR Agent, because there are certain design elements that this shares with that, particularly the controller. One thing that VR Agent did that was highly influential within the industry was taking a VR headset and melding it with a light gun. And so if you've seen that one, or if you've played it, then you know what I'm talking about, where you actually have to hold up the gun to your face, kind of like this. And this does that, and you can see that on the right hand photo there, sort of. Unfortunately, that's not a close-up shot of the gun itself, but it still gives you a fairly good idea of how that's supposed to operate. Now, this one, unlike VR Agent, this has seats, which I assume would help with comfort, as well as preventing anybody from, like, say, the child's maybe running around and not paying attention and maybe bumps into somebody who's standing around. Or sometimes I've seen this with VR games where somebody else, like one of their friends, might be standing nearby and not really paying attention when their friend's playing, and then the friend accidentally hits them with the controller or something, just because they can't see, they're immersed in the virtual world and all that. But the gameplay, from what I saw, there was a video that was sent to me by somebody who took these photos and also saw it on the US location test, but I couldn't download it. It was in a Facebook message, but it wouldn't let me download it. But just kind of like an on-rails light gun game with a lot of action, a lot of enemies to shoot at. Graphics looked really good, but we'll have to wait and see this one in person. And the assumption is that it's definitely going to be coming through the Sega Amusements booth at IAAPA. But that's not the only game that's been spotted on test. Now, this next one, which was a big surprise, is coming to us from a name that used to be pretty big in the arcade industry, but maybe not so much anymore unless you're in Japan, and that's Konami. And they have brought back a game that, Contra, Contra Burst. Now, this photo that I got, it was showing the game still being set up, and so I don't know what they might have done with the portion in the center there. These have been designed as conversion kits for Bomberman Arcade at Round 1 USA locations. And if you've been to Round 1 USA and notice they have a lot of Konami games, it's because there is a special relationship there. And so I would not be expecting this game or any of the other Konami games to be showing up at any other locations anytime soon. But if you wanted to play Contra in arcades again, then this is one way to do it. Just note that this is a redemption game. It's, from what I've been told, there's no just pure video element to it. Of course, it is unusual that it has mounted guns, whereas the original Contra and Super Contra and all the console sequels were joystick-based. There was a 2015 Contra Evolution that was released only in China, but it was also joystick-based. And so it would be interesting to see if Contra makes a real comeback just with light guns instead of joysticks. I mean, that would certainly track with modern gaming. But then again, they're not the only ones. Now, something that you are more likely to find in any arcade out there are some games that are coming from Unis. Now, Unis always has a lot of new stuff at any IAAPA, but oftentimes they only might release 1 or 2 pure video games. The rest will be redemption games or just mechanical redemption games, crane machines, air hockey tables and such. But from the preview that I received today, they actually have a few, or maybe I should say several video games coming to IAPA. And so the first one is Neon Rush, which, as you can see, has some influence from Raw Thrills. Now, of course, Raw Thrills and Unis are partners in China, where Unis is the authorized manufacturer for certain games there, and they even will add motion to titles like Cruise and Blast or H2 Overdrive, and those might show up over here in North America as imports, but they're not officially in distribution. But Neon Rush does have a motion base under the motorcycle. It has the swivel motorcycles, has the 2 screens like Fast and Furious Arcade, has wind effects. I'm not 100% sure because the copy that I received didn't mention it, how many of these would link together. I'd assume it would be 8, as it mentions that there are 8 drones, and oftentimes Unis will limit how many drones are in the game, even in a single-player game, to the maximum number of linked units. But this also appears to be sold in a twin configuration, so you get 2 when you do make a purchase. But it'd be interesting to see that one in action as it takes a shot at Superbikes 3. And then the next one is called Dino Storm. Now, first glance, this might be like, oh, another dinosaur shooting game, just without the Jurassic Park name. But actually, it's not a light gun game, and it's more of a racing game. But this is a river rafting title, kind of like Rapid River by Namco, or Crazy Rafting, which is more recent from Sega. And this has a motion base with 2 modes. You can choose a lighter motion mode, which is more for casual people who don't want to be jostled around. And then there's the exciting mode, which is more realistic. And then the oar controllers are different from Rapid River or Crazy Rafting because you have one on each side, and you kind of do your oaring, your paddling that way. And there's also even a foot pedal that is used to do certain actions, as well as kind of a big action button. This one might link up to 4. Again, it wasn't stated specifically, but there are 6 tracks you can choose from and 3 characters and lots of dinosaurs. So maybe that dinosaur element combined with the river rafting would be something that will catch people's attention. And then we have Monster Kart, where this one is looking to take aim at the ever popular Mario Kart. Now, of course, Mario Kart does set the standard for things in karting. One thing that this would have that Bandai Namco's Mario Kart Arcade GPDX doesn't have is a motion base, and even the seats look more like real go-karts as opposed to just sitting in a standard arcade racer. This one does link up to 6. It's sold in a twin configuration. It does have wind effects. It only has 3 tracks, though. It's a little surprising, where something like a rowing game is going to have more tracks than a racing kart game. But there's 5 characters, and I guess my little camera image is covering up part of the slide, but there's 8 power-ups, and a lot of the elements of this look like just like you would expect from a kart battle game. We have Carnival Shot. Now, this one is a redemption game. I'm not aware of it being available as just video, but it's available as either a prize model where you can win capsules, or there's a ticket model. It has 8 stages, 55-inch screen, shoot with targets with light guns. The higher score you get, the bigger the prize you can win. And then we have Sailor's Quest 2 VR, which is a sequel to the first Sailor's Quest. I'm not sure how popular that particular one is out there, as I haven't seen any on location. I've only seen it at trade shows, but it's kind of like Dead Storm Pirates, but with VR. It does have mounted guns, wind effects, and such. And so that sequel will be at the show. Now, Unis will have a lot of other stuff to enjoy there, other redemption games, crane machines, and such. And so if that's more what goes into your venue, don't worry, they'll have that stuff there. But I was surprised to see uptick in how many video games, and there's other ones like Bigfoot Smash, which is another in the Bigfoot series that they had. I just didn't have time to really get into it here, but that gives us one preview to IAPA, and don't worry, we'll have plenty more in the coming weeks. But thank you for watching this version of Arcade Corner, and we will catch you.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, forgot to unmute myself. You know, so diligent there.
Thanks. Yeah.
maybe by the 10th one, we'll be super smooth here.
Yeah,
So
figure. Yeah,
we're not doing a daily anymore. So we don't have like the daily cadence to work through all their bugs. It's a whole week in
Totally.
between. So it's weird.
Right. Exactly.
I loved that Dino Storm by Eunice. I don't know why. Like I'm super excited to go try it out. I think it's maybe because it's a boat and I love rowing, but I mean, rafting is very different than rowing. Let's be clear. But I just thought it was cool. I love dinosaurs. I love, the fact that you're in a boat and it's motion, controlled. And so anyway, I thought that one was super cool.
Yeah, it's neat. It's got some neat new elements to it, right? But oh my gosh, there's so many fun things coming out. We're just gonna have so much fun on that show floor this year, just checking everything, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The one thing that I still struggle with is the is VR, VR video arcade. So just where you're sitting there, it's like a ride experience. It's a little mini thing. Like I just still struggle with that. I still struggle with the cleanliness of this drop down. The fact that the cables are going to get broken at some point. It's just a lot of use, and I'm just not sure. I think you can accomplish a lot more with like a wraparound screen and really drive that immersion and not worry about the full VR goggle thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I struggle with that too, just because it makes me so sick. Like, I just can't even enjoy those games. It doesn't matter. I haven't found one yet that's not made me sick. And as a matter of fact, when we were watching that IAPA video earlier, I noticed there was so much stuff with VR in it that, and I'm sure that wasn't intentional. Like, they're just trying to capture all the new stuff that's coming out, and that seems to be in that space a lot. But I looked at it and I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm going to throw up even just looking at some of this stuff. So I'm with you. Yeah. Why aren't they using more of the LED panels? And because they are super cool and they're coming down in price. So you'd think we'd start seeing more of that.
Yeah. And maybe we are, right? Because some of this stuff has been in development for a couple of years leading up to this point. And so they've still got to get them out, but maybe they're already beginning to make that shift and they're in development. I don't know. I'm hoping that's the case because I think VR's has a very limited tail as far as at least this types of video arcade experiences. All right. Well, I'm excited to hear from Beth Stanley and some scaling up tips from her. So let's hear from Beth.
Hello, Beth Stanley here with Trainertainment, Scaling Up Certified Coach, and I'm super excited to talk with you this week about mapping out your strategy. Last week we looked at different tools that you could use, and I want to lean into Vern Harnish's one-page strategic plan. And so if you downloaded that, or if you haven't, go and get it, because the thing you want to do once you've got your values and your vision and your mission stated, the big thing you want to do is you want to look at where am I going? So often what we do as entrepreneurs, especially, is we get up today and we jump into business and we run through the day and we hope we got everything checked off. And then we can do it again tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And there's no strategy in that. That's just tactical. That's blocking and tackling, wood chopping, however you want to, whatever metaphor you want to use. And what I want to encourage you to do is to think about having a map, having a roadmap. None of us would ever just kind of jump in the car and decide, oh, I think I'll just drive around today and try to get somewhere. We just wouldn't do that. We would have an end in mind. And so that's what we want to do. I want to talk with you about looking 10 years from now. And I know that seems really far out there. And if you just can't do that, pull it in a little bit closer and think about 6 years. And you want to sit with yourself and maybe even close your eyes and envision who you'll be, what role you'll be playing, how many businesses do you own, how big's your staff, are you retired? Like, just be thinking and be unafraid to think about anything. Go big. What do they say? Go big or go home, right? So I encourage you to think really big. There's often like a revelation that we didn't think big enough for down the road, and we get too big for what's up close. And so first step is look out here. If you can do 10, go 10. If you need it closer in, try 6. And think about where you want to be and get that on paper and be as specific as you can be. How much money do you want to be able to put in your pocket? How many people will you have served? You know, what kinds of in the entertainment space, what kinds of attractions or expansion have you done with even in your single facility? Name it, write it down. There's power in that. Okay. And then you're going to come back to 3 years. If you've only gone out 6, if you went out 10, you can maybe look at a 3 to 5 year plan. And that's going to get more in focus. You know, the closer we get in here, the more in focus it becomes. And so you may be real specific. And again, jot down, what kind of revenue do I have? What's my profitability? Maybe how many locations do I have? How many team members are there? How many folks do we serve? Get as specific as you can about what you would like to see your business be. I know, like for Trainertainment, healthcare is an option that we really need to be able to provide for our team. And it wound up on our 3-year plan for lots of years. And the size of company that I have and the fact that people are spread all over the United States made it super complicated to find anything that was affordable. And so what we then did, because we said we would, is that we gave a stipend so that people could use that toward their own healthcare piece. So that's just an example of something that we knew we couldn't accomplish it in the year we wanted to, but we believed and made a commitment that we would get there within the 3 years. And so we did. We did the same thing with 401k and made that offer to the team. Okay. So those are things that you might look for in that 3 to 5 year space. And then based on that, you see, when you start out here, you think big. What would I have to do in the 3 to 5 years to get to that big plan? And then what do I need to do this next year? And what a great time it is for us to be talking about that, right? The new year is upon us. Listen, we're already 2/3 of the way through October, and we'll have 2 more months left in the quarter, and we know how fast it goes with the holidays and everything. So I want to look at, what do I need to do this year? What are the big initiatives and the big priorities that our company could focus on this next year in 2025, so that we could reach those goals that we set for ourselves in 3 years and then eventually in the 6. Okay. And listen, you can't do everything. Remember what I said? We have a tendency to make it too big for the most immediate year and not big enough for far enough away. So less is more. Having a big key initiative each quarter to work against might be all you need. So maybe start there. What are the 4 best things I could do in 2025 that would help us get to our ultimate 3 to 5 year and then ultimately that 10-year goal? I hope that helps. Next time, we're going to talk about, once we've got those annual initiatives, what I got to do the next 90 days in order to focus on making those annual initiatives come to pass. See you next time. Beth Stanley, CEO of Trainertainment.
Intercart is the only cashless system designed, developed, and manufactured all under one roof. They introduced cashless technology to the amusement industry and have been leading the way for over 30 years. Cashless systems from Intercart increase customer spending, guest satisfaction, and boost revenues by up to 30%. Intercart is so proud to be serving the amusement industry, and if you aren't already part of their global family of customers, they hope you will become one soon.
Well, some great tips from Beth there. Hey.
Yeah.
one thing when she was talking about all that stuff, it just reminded me that I always used to set up goals in really specific formats for my staff, because I always found that staff really had a hard time forecasting. Like, they're like, okay, I want to accomplish these things in the next 3 months, but they really couldn't wrap their heads around the steps that were required to get them there. And so I would always make them break out what the next 12 weeks looked like and what they were going to accomplish every single week, so that they knew they were setting the right goal. And so I had this little spreadsheet, and then we would review it at our weekly meetings, just to make sure that they were following along, because I think forecasting really is a skill. People get over ambitious, and there's a whole lot of stuff that, you might not accomplish even though you want to. So breaking them down into weekly chunks really worked well for us in our business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what I love about the whole goal setting process that she's certainly with her Trainertainment can help take people through using Vern Harnish's scaling up program is not just, how do you break it down into the small chunks, but why are we breaking down these small chunks? Like, what is the bigger vision we are targeting? So the 10-year, the 3-year, and then the 1-year goals. And that gives us something to say, okay, now I know why I'm doing all of these things that seem to be minutia and seem to be we're executing them because we're pursuing these bigger, larger goals. So I absolutely love that concept. And nope, I don't have it right here, but I'm like looking for the scaling up book. I was like, I'm going to pull it out. But I've got it in one of my other bookshelves. So anyway, I think that was great. So thanks, Beth. Looking forward to next week to really understand how we break this down over the next 90 days. All right. So we're going to try a new segment called Crowd Questions. This is where we're going to go out to the FEC, LBE industry. We're going to go to places like the FEC Operators Group. We're going to go to other places that we'll soon be talking about here to go and get these questions. And one of the questions that actually came up at the LBX Academy this week was, actually, let me pull this up here. So one of the questions was, how do you track apples to apples year-over-year revenue? And so we figured, we've got a great expert there, but let's hear from him and figure out how we do track apples to apples year-over-year revenue in one of many ways, but the way that he prefers. So we'll hear from him in just a minute. All right, so let's hear from Jeremy Hoyum, as we talked about earlier. He was our main instructor for the LBX Academy Birthday Workshop this week, and he's got an answer for us. And let's hear what he has to say.
Your sales. So when you're looking at the metrics of paying attention to year-over-year performance, sometimes, especially in the FEC space, it seems like there's two groups of people. You have the cash accounting people, and then you have the accrual accounting people. I would suggest, for me, what I found having success is understanding the difference. If you're doing a first of the month to the end of the month, and how you're looking at your year-over-year results, our industry is extremely dependent on weekends and holidays. And so, to give an example, if last year, we did $100,000 in the month of January, this year we did $120,000 in the month of January. We may falsely think that we're doing better or worse based off of a difference in the calendar. So as an example, January of last year, we may have had 4 Saturdays. In January of this year, we may have had 5 Saturdays. That extra Saturday will make us think that we did better in revenue, or our sales are up, 20%. And that may not be the case. We may just have an extra Saturday in there. The other side may be true as well, where we could fall into sort of thinking the world's falling apart because we're down 20% if it was flipped the other way. And so just making sure that we're looking at different ways you can look at that. And I tend to like to look at a 4-4-5 calendar. 4-4-5 calendar is 4 weeks, and they break it up into periods in quarters. So there's 4 quarters in a year. 4 weeks in the first period, which would be like January, 4 weeks in February, 5 weeks in March. And it has specific date ranges to it, but what it does is it makes you look at week over week results for year over year. So you're looking at the same week last year to the same week this year, and it has you, it gives you the ability to make sure that you have the same amount of weekends in each period, and it's a consistent measurement for a way to look at your revenue.
Yeah, very interesting. I think That's definitely a good first strategy. I would have to comment further, even from my experience, that way of comparing still didn't work for us. Like, we really had to look like spring break. Maybe one year, all the school systems fell on the same week, so you'd see a boost that week. Some other years, you'd see them spread out all over the place. Some years we had snow for the month of April. Some years we didn't, so we could open up our go-karts that were outside. And so it was always kind of a game of trying to figure out how your sales are going to be impacted. And, what was really hard was some years we just did better because the weather was better. And, just really, you kind of recognize that you're a very seasonal business at that point, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, there's always a little nuance to that. I mean, you could even take it around holidays, right? So the holidays that are variable, so not like a Labor Day that's always going to be on a Monday or something like that, but like a 4th of July or a Christmas, or Thanksgiving is always on the same year, for whether it's Canadian or it's always the same day of the week. But like with Christmas or 4th of July, those could be on a weekend one year, and they could be on a Tuesday on another time of year, and that's going to have an impact on what type of traffic you're going to see, even in a particular week over week scenario. So, or, year over year measured by week scenario. So there are always nuances. And, I think this is just one of many ways to look at those comparisons, but you have to take stuff into context. But anyway, so that was our first crowd question segment. We're looking to have more of these on a regular basis. So if you do have questions and there are things that you want us to answer, or we will always go and try to find an expert to be able to answer, then we'll do that. So please send them over to us, email either one of us, or hit us up on one of our socials, and we will definitely get that question loaded in here.
Okay, so I guess before we sign off today, we have a little video teaser of the upcoming sound off that's going to be coming out Tuesday. So let's pull that onto stage and take a peek.
An interesting application here, VR as a standalone attraction being added to existing entertainment venues. We've pointed to a couple, our friends at Sandbox VR, transporting one of their entertainment operations into the Gravity Max at Wandsworth. Now we see a deal being struck between Megaverse and Great Wolf Lodge. The first of their facilities will be having these arena-based VR experiences added to their entertainment mix. The hope being that all of their facilities will migrate over to having a VR components to their entertainment mix. Big news, though sadly it seems not covered as much by the amusement trade as I think it warrants, but I would say that, wouldn't I?
Of course you would say that, yes.
Of course,
absolutely.
Yeah, so some really good insights there, and really interesting to see what Great Wolf has done.
Yeah, awesome. All right, everybody. Well, that wraps up our third LBX show for, what is it, be October 27th. And looking forward to next week. We've got some fun stuff in store. And so stay tuned and keep kicking ass.
See y'all later.